Hey y'all, welcome back to another hunting ammo ballistics gel test. Today we're going to be shooting Norma TipStrike Varmint, their 76 grain load in 243 Winchester. And here is that very cool looking box for your Norma TipStrike Varmint 76 grain 243 Winchester load. So this is a Varmint specific load. That is how we will be evaluating it. We've got a photo of a fox and a raccoon on here. The raccoon looks really pissed off. I think that's kind of funny. The fox looks kind of cute. Anyways, let's flip it around to the back and take a look. Norma has some good promo info on their boxes. I really like Norma ammo. It tends to perform really well across calibers and across ammunition lines. So anyway, here's your promo info. Feel free to stop, pause, zoom in, and read all that if you would like. Here, I'll pull up this a little closer, get it to focus so you can see a little bit better. You can read all that if you would like to. Coming on over, here is your velocity and other ballistics data. It looks like at the muzzle, 0 yards, they're stating 3,445 feet per second. So this stuff should be screaming. Now, we will be shooting this out of a 20-inch barreled compact rifle, which I think is appropriate for a 243, but not necessarily appropriate for varmint-specific ammo. There are some longer barreled 243s out there people use for varmint hunting, so it is what it is. My barrel's 20 inches. I don't have a 24-inch barrel. We'll see how close we get to that. So let's go ahead and pull this stuff out and take a look. But I will say a 20-inch barreled little short bolt-action 243 would make one handy coyote stalking rifle. So, you know, maybe it is appropriate. Anyway, Norma ammo comes in these black plastic holders. I actually find these really handy. You can crack them in half like that. You got a 5-rounder you can stick in your packer, in your pocket, or anything like that. Also, people don't know this, a lot of people don't know it, these black plastic holders can be used as an emergency fire starter, or fire source rather. You can light this with a lighter and it will burn for quite a long time. I saw that on Norma's YouTube channel, I think, so go check that video out if you haven't seen it. Push down right here and then push up and your ammo comes right out. And there it is, there's your Norma TipStrike Varmint. Let's go shoot it and see how it does. And real quick, if you're watching this video anytime around when it came out, I'm having a huge sale on my website, masonleather.com. Go check it out and get yourself something. And my test rifle today is my Winchester Model 70 Featherweight Compact, chambered in 243 Winchester, of course. It's got a 20-inch barrel. Up top, I've got a Leupold FX2 6-power scope. And coming on back, I've got one of my handmade leather cartridge cuffs. I've got 243 stamped right in it. Check out my website, masonleather.com. It will be linked in the description and the pinned comment. I would absolutely love to make you one. And coming over the other side, I've got my whitetail deer design.
We'll be taking 3 shots from 100 yards, firing into 10% ballistics gel that has been calibrated to meet the FBI's ballistics testing protocol. And while ballistics gel isn't an exact proxy for big game, it does provide a repeatable medium through which to test various bullets and ammo against each other. After the shots, we'll examine bullet expansion, weight retention, penetration, and velocity. My goal is to provide hunters like you and I with the most objective information possible to help us make the best choice for our particular hunting situation. The ballistics gel in this video has been sourced from Clear Ballistics. You can find a link in the description.
So let's go ahead and shoot it. And here are your velocities for that Norma TipStrike 76 grain load out of the 243, minimum 3347, maximum 3362, average 3353. This stuff is trucking right along. And we are down at the blocks after shooting that Norma TipStrike 76 grain stuff out of the 243, and we did capture what is left of all 3 bullets. It seems like most of them disintegrated up front, but nevertheless, we'll have something to look at. Let's go ahead and take a look at penetration. Looks like we got 11 inches right there. We'll call that one, it's kissing 13 on the edge. We'll call that one 13 inches, and this one right here is right at about 14 inches, and this looks like, you know, the base of the bullet with a little bit mushroomed back. I think these shed a lot of their weight. Coming up front, we've got the impact zone here, and remember, this is TipStrike. This is supposed to deliver a big punch up front. That's what this stuff did. Didn't penetrate very deep. This is definitely not a deer load or a medium game load, I wouldn't say. This is a varmint load, and that's what's on the box, varmint. So it looks like we come in, expand out rapidly before really starting right at running up to the 1-inch mark, boom, and then it tapers off by about the 6-inch mark. Big old blast up front to put down your varmints. And here's sort of a side view. You can see the little pancakes of what's left of the bullets there in the block. Let's go ahead and dig them out and take a look. All right, y'all, we've dug the bullets out. Let's talk about it. The Norma TipStrike 76 grain and 243. And keep in mind, this is a Varmint centric cartridge. I've got the box right here. It does specifically say Varmint, so this is not the medium game version of TipStrike, which does exist at least in larger calibers. I don't know about 243. Let's go ahead and hit it. Weight retention, 26, 26, and 29 grains for an average of 27 grains. That's 36% retained weight. Very consistent across all three bullets. And being that this is a ballistic tip Varmint bullet, definitely don't expect the majority of the bullet to be here at the end of the day, and it's not. So I think these did exactly what they're supposed to do, and we still got a good little chunk of each one that penetrated on through, so I think it's pretty darn good performance. On to expansion. For the main pieces that were remaining of the bullets, because most of the mass did break up, we saw 0.46, 0.47, and 0.47 inches, very consistent for an average of rounded up 0.47 inches expanded diameter, which works out to 1.9x expansion. I think this might be a good option for larger varmints because we do still have this chunk of bullet that penetrates a little bit deeper, maintains some mass, and expands. This could be a great option for coyotes and stuff like that. I honestly think it might be a bit much for your smaller varmints, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Velocity wise, this stuff was absolutely screaming and is one of the best 243 ammos I've tested in terms of getting close to its factory rated velocity out of the 20-inch barrel of my Model 70 Featherweight Compact. So our high velocity was 3362, our low was 3347 for an average of 3354 versus the factory build velocity of 3,445 feet per second. So we only came in 91 feet per second slow on average out of a 20-inch barrel. Very surprising, excellent performance. And this shows that, factory ammo can do better than what a lot of them do. I think a lot of them are underloaded. Granted, yeah, it's a 20-inch barrel. If you're shooting out of a 22, 24, maybe you got a 26-inch custom rig 243, absolutely you're going to see higher velocities. And I never expect to hit the factory build velocity out of the 20-inch barrel. I want to make that abundantly clear. I do not expect that to happen. But with this ammo, we came in really close for what it is. Very, very impressed. And I can definitely see if you had a 24-inch barreled 243, I think you would meet, if not exceed, the factory rated velocity with this stuff. And for those interested, the estimated impact velocity down at 100 yards would be 3,019 feet per second. So even down at 100 yards, we're still over 3,000 feet per second. Absolutely screaming ammo here. And penetration-wise, we saw 11 inches, 13 inches, and 14 inches for an average of about 13 inches of penetration for those main chunks of bullet that remained. Excellent penetration. I honestly didn't expect it to go that deep. It's a ballistic tip. Most of the bullet broke up. What remained did penetrate nice and deep for a varmint load. I think, again, lending itself to, your larger varmints, and it might be a bit much for smaller varmints. And now, granted, it is a 243 Winchester. That's one heck of a varmint cartridge. Definitely one of your more powerful varmint cartridges. And on a kinetic energy, this stuff has some great kinetic energy due to that just screaming velocity. With a 76 grain bullet going on average 3,354 feet per second, we're looking at 1,898 foot-pounds, so right at 1,900 foot-pounds of kinetic energy at the muzzle, and about 1,537 foot-pounds down there at 100 yards. So as far as a varmint load is concerned, this stuff is a hammer, and I think it's going to do just about anything you need it to. And a quick announcement before we get to my final thoughts. If you'd like early access to my videos weeks and even months in advance of everyone else, become a channel member. The links will be in the video description and the pinned comment. Thanks, y'all. All right, y'all, on to my final thoughts regarding the Norma TipStrike 76 grain load out of the 243. This is a varmint load. 243 is a fairly powerful cartridge and, in the varmint hunting world. I think this stuff would be absolutely excellent for your larger varmints, your smaller predators, coyotes, stuff like that. I wouldn't be one to want to use this on, wolf or cougar or stuff, larger predators. But your mid-size on up to coyote, I think it would absolutely do excellent. I'm sure this could flatten a coyote at extended range. The bullet's going super fast. It's carrying a good punch. I think it's going to do everything you need it to. And if you're shooting smaller stuff with it, I'm not sure there's going to be a lot left. So just keep that in mind. If I were looking for a Varmint cartridge for my 243, this Norma TipStrike stuff would be at the top of the list. If you've used this stuff on game, let me and everyone else know in the comments how it did for you. And check out my website masonleather.com and get yourself some leather gear handmade by me just for you. I've been handcrafting leather gear for hunters for over a decade, and I would love to make you something. And there are hundreds of reviews on my website, so you can see what real hunters have to say about their Mason leather gear. And also tons of photos showing all the customizable options, including name, initial, and caliber stamping, as well as wild game designs and more. Everything is handmade by me right here in the USA. I would love to be a part of your hunt through my leather gear. And it helps support this channel, so I can bring you more hunting ammo ballistics gel tests, and lots of other cool stuff in the future. The link will be in the video description and the pinned comment, or you can just type masonleather.com into your web browser.
And click one of these cards for more hunting ammo ballistics gel tests.